What's up, Kings? Today I'm answering a question from a viewer on how to deal with breakups, the best ways to go about this. And having been through one of these breakups, I really wish I had known these steps that I'm getting ready to show you here, because if I had, I think rather than spending like 8 months basically self-destructing and feeling miserable, I think I could have gotten that window down to like a week or so, honestly. So like these steps are really key. So I want you to make sure you get all these if you're somebody who's suffering through a breakup or you still haven't quite gotten over it. And before we get into that, my name is Keefe, and I made this channel to help men create their ideal lives through self-mastery. Be sure to hit the bell icon and subscribe button so you don't miss tomorrow's video. And let's get straight into it. All right, guys, so like I said, I really think if I had implemented these steps I'm getting ready to share with you, I could have gone from spending probably 8 months just getting worse and worse and digging myself into a hole. I think I could have probably been over this in a week. Now, obviously, if you're somebody who's been like married or something for 20 years and you've got kids and it's this big affair that went down or whatever, like, it's going to be harder, right? But typical girlfriend-boyfriend relationship, it's really not that big of a deal if you get in a breakup. We're making it more of a big deal than it is, and I'm saying this as somebody who did this, but like really once I got out of that irrational funk and looked back at what I had how I'd been behaving over the last 8 months, I was like, what in the world was I thinking? Like, are you kidding me? Like, it's just like when you look back on it with a clear head, you're like, this is nuts, right? So using these steps here will help you get rid of that crazy period pretty quickly. And the first step is to stabilize your life. So this is something I really screwed up, and most people screw this up. Once this it's kind of like this. You could think about you're building this attachment and this connection with this person, and then it drops off, right? And your emotional state takes a hit immediately when this happens. And everybody's first reaction is they kind of like dope themselves up on substances. And for me, it was nicotine, which I guess isn't the worst thing. A lot of people get drunk all the time or stoned all the time, but it wasn't helpful. But then we tend to let every other area of our life self-destruct. So people will start letting their health fall apart, or perhaps they let their money fall apart. In my case, I just kept making a lot of irrational financial decisions, like really like just swinging, kind of like trying to flail around and fight with the feeling and try to get out of this situation because I wasn't happy with it. And I really wanted to try and like show externally that like I was the man, like you made a mistake. And I was just making all these dumb financial decisions, and I dug myself into a financial hole, dug myself into debt, just doing stupid stuff. And like, so what I mean by stabilizing is we want to kind of like get the ship back on course, right? Like, let's say you're a plane and you're like in a tailspin going down. We want to get the plane level back off before you crash into the ground. So what you need to do here is make sure you maintain all these other key areas of your life. Don't let your finances go. Think about it from the mindset of, we might have lost this battle, but we're going to win the war, okay? So if you're a general and you're in battle and you see that you're completely outnumbered in a fight, but you've got reinforcements maybe 50 miles back, it would be wise for you to pull your troops back, take the loss here, get all your forces, and then go attack again, and you'll be stronger than ever. That's the mindset you need to have here. So stabilizing, figuring out like, all right, let's get like the waters calmed back down by making sure my finances are still good. Let's double down on our health, whatever areas of your life, social life, all these things. Let's make sure all of these other areas, because like a rising tide lifts all boats. If you keep all these areas high, naturally this like your emotional state will come back up and you'll find somebody new and you'll get over it a lot quicker as well. Second thing I have down here is meditation. This was clutch for me. I didn't do it correctly, I don't think, from the beginning. I meditated for most of the time this was going on. This is the period when I first learned about meditation, but I was more focused on meditating like in a visualization perspective. So like I'm in this meditative state focusing on what I want to happen, but I was trying to suppress, by doing that I was trying to suppress and ignore these emotions I was dealing with, these feelings and thoughts that I was still battling. And so one thing I'd recommend when it comes to meditation, the proper way to do it in a circumstance like this, is you just want to detach from the thoughts, right? You don't want to be living in your like head, because the thoughts are the thing that really gives us the pain when it comes to this, the replaying of things, new scenarios. That's what keeps bringing it up in our head. So if you can learn to detach through a mindfulness meditation and just kind of observe your thoughts and get better and better at that, you'll be able to let it go a lot easier, rather than in my case where I'm trying to like balm over the fact that I'm feeling awful by trying to force myself to feel positive. It just doesn't work. So I'd recommend you let go of all the negative feelings before you like regroup and head in the direction of like more positive state. states, and it will come, but I just think you'll do a lot better if you just let the negative feelings go. So doing a mindfulness meditation, which is just simply where you sit here. There are different guided meditations for it. Sam Harris, he does a lot of stuff with this. He has an app, I'm pretty sure, but you can find some on YouTube for free as well. But these mindfulness meditations are basically just about helping you witness your thoughts and not get so caught up in them. Your thoughts are kind of like hooks, right? And so you're like the fish swimming around, and the bait is kind of like that feeling that comes with the thought, and you bite it and it drags you around and you follow it around. So this is basically about teaching you how to just watch the hooks without getting caught in them. So that's a really good thing for you to do, because it'll just help you let go a lot of this garbage. Next thing I got, guys, is to sit with your feelings and let them go. I want you to realize that it's not really the feeling you're feeling that's causing you the problem, it's the thoughts associated with the feeling, right? So perhaps you're feeling grief, you're really sad, but the thing that's really hitting you is the thoughts that keep running around and the stories that keep being told in your head. So if you focus on the feeling rather than the thought, the feeling will dissipate fairly quickly. And as the feeling state rises within you, you'll be able to tell yourself a new story about what happened during the relationship and what happened with the breakup. Because if you're sitting in grief or nostalgia is a form of grief. And what I mean by nostalgia, like if you have positive memories from the past, that's not nostalgia. That's just kind of looking back like, oh, that was like good times, right? But if you look back at an experience of the past nostalgically, it's as if you're wishing you could go back to that moment in time. And that is associated with grief, because you're not living in the present moment. You're comparing it to the past. So nostalgia is not a good thing either. So if you can really focus on that feeling and be comfortable letting it go, which most people try to hold on to the feeling because they're caught up on the thoughts and the feeling, and they're kind of milking something out of it. Focus on the feeling, let the thoughts go. Just focus on the feeling, let it be in your body. Like I said, you'll find that it goes away pretty quickly. I've been talking a lot about this letting go concept, but it is really huge for you to be practicing this, and it will help with like traumatic events. It's not going to happen immediately, but it'll happen much quicker than if you keep playing the thoughts along in your head and trying to like rationalize your way out of the situation. Another thing along with this, guys, is we spend a lot of time trying to suppress feelings that we don't like. So like I said at the beginning, guys might like go start drinking a lot, or they do something to dope themselves up and avoid it, but the feeling stays. You gotta let the feeling out. This is not a healthy long-term solution to try and escape from the feelings. You just simply have to let them go, and once they're gone, you'll feel better. I mean, like I said, for me, when I was caught up in like perhaps grief or guilt about things that I wish I'd done different in this relationship when it didn't end well, I had a completely different perspective. First of all, I was coming at it from this position of like, I need to go get the relationship back, or I need to pursue this, or I need to prove my worthiness or something. Once I finally was able to get these feelings out and look back at the situation, I was like, this was not a good relationship. This was I was completely attached. It was like a traumatic bond. It wasn't even like a really good connection. It was just stupid. And like, you're just playing these thoughts in your head and you're fooling yourself. It's not even real. So if you let the feeling go, you can look back at it. You can accept what happened. You can learn from it. You can do better. And it's just so much, like, trust me, guys, I know, because I was really in this situation. I was like, there's no way, like, because you're so convinced of the thoughts in your head. But seriously, if you can just let the feeling go, suddenly it all looks so much different and you feel so much better, believe me. Last thing I got here, guys, is now that you've let go of the negative feelings, we want to move in a positive direction, right? So we need to set positive targets for the future to keep us going, right? We need to train more into the positive feeling states. And now that we've let all these negative feelings go, more focus on the positive rather than focusing on letting go of the negative. The letting go of the negative feelings is kind of a life process. You're always going to be doing that. But now that we've kind of gotten through the traumatic period, we want to focus on building for a better future. That means setting goals, like I was talking about earlier. Double down on your health, or get your money right. Figure out a goal, what inspires you, all these kinds of things. Also, take the time to look at what you could have done different in this situation that ended badly, so that you don't repeat the process. Everybody loves to blame the other person in the situation, but like, if you can be honest with yourself, like, even if the only thing you're responsible for is you should have known better than to be dating this kind of person, that's still something you should have learned. But most of the time it's more than that. You usually got needy, or you were being insecure. You weren't pushing for your goals. You weren't acting like a man. Most guys seem to struggle with that these days. I know I did. But really just like learn those lessons so you don't have to keep going through this painful cycle, and then get more clarity around who you actually want to be in a relationship with. And again, just train that more positive state into you. I really think, like I said, if I had really just focused on this, perhaps I wouldn't have been completely out of the water in a week, but I really think like it was just the constant hang up on the thoughts and constantly replaying them that just dug me further and further into the hole, and I kept making it worse for myself by compounding things, by making other areas of my life get worse, detaching from social circles, blowing money irrationally. If I had just stabilized the boat, let the feeling go, I really think I would have been out of this pretty dang quickly, because like I said, once you get over the negative attachment kind of feelings, you look back and realize like usually the breakup was the best thing that could have happened. But guys, if you got something out of this video, give me a like so I can reach more guys to the algorithm. Hit the bell icon, subscribe button so you don't miss tomorrow's video. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.